Welcome to the 5 Reasons Sports Post Game Show, aka the Post Up on 5R. And today, I guess this would be my starting 5. Yeah, I kind of like that. This is my starting 5. We got my man Gadiel Cartagena, Ariel Latias, Brian Young, and my man Jonathan Ramlakan pulling double duty as not only a panelist but as our producer. So thank you for that, Jonathan. Fellas, the Heat got back on track today. 107-90 win, almost derailed by Tyler Hero going 5 for 12 in what everybody wants to call a good floor game, but I call a terrible shooting performance. But
you are shameless.
I don't care.
Truly shameless.
I don't care. I don't care. I saw what I saw. The boy played putridly today, and I don't care what you gonna. I don't care what you gonna say the rest of this episode, bro. You're not gonna move me off my spot.
Bro,
so
we're really gonna do 82 games of this.
Oh, for sure, bro. Every game that he plays like this, bro, I'm back on my bullshit. I'm sorry, bro. Don't play like that. I saw you score 30. Score 30 every night. Josh scored 40. I saw it myself. Thank you, Prop by Pack TV for the $199 dono. Starting the show off right. The boy feeling good? Yes, indeed. Except for about Talero. Gad, tell me your thoughts on the game tonight, bro.
I was super happy with, last game, I was the first person to come on here. I called Jimmy out for just really not playing a Jimmy game. It was like bad shots, not really passing the ball well. And he came out and said it himself in the post game. He's like, I need to be better. I let my offense dictate my defense. I was missing shots that I normally make. Just really wasn't doing what I normally do. Came out today, balled out. Superstar Jimmy. That's who we got tonight. This is why Jimmy is our guy. Like, he was unbelievable tonight, and he was hitting that mid-range, which is going to be crucial. So that mid-range, which some days it looks like it's broke, others days it looks like tonight, so it averages out to be pretty solid. He showed out. And obviously, Tyler Hero, regardless of what agenda you're trying to push, bro, he played I think a great game tonight. It doesn't need to be scoring, and he showed you he can actually play winning basketball, and that's what we saw from Hero. So once again, another game where I think we should be really encouraged by certain things. Some things you want to work on, you want to hit more threes, but I was generally happy. We covered the spread. We looked good, although we had a bad shooting night, and it's on to Brooklyn.
Yeah, you know exactly what agenda I'm trying to push. The true and only agenda that I've ever had, and it will be continuously pushed until it comes to fruition. I do agree that we all owe Jimmy Butler a bit of an apology after talking terribly about this man last game. All of you should be ashamed of yourselves.
All of us?
Ariel, we win as a team, we lose as a team, unless Tyler Hero's involved. I'm gonna leave Tyler. No, I'm not. Let me stop lying to everybody. Ariel, what's your thoughts on the game, bro?
Well, I'm going to start with Jimmy. This might sound a lot like where Gad went with this, but again, what a difference a Kyle Lowry makes, and how different does the offense look? Missed threes aside, right? Like, if they make those threes, they win this game by 30-something. So missed threes aside, just look at the ball movement. Look at the positions that Jimmy and Bam are being put in on offense and how much cleaner and simpler the game is for them. Now, I know that Jimmy specifically is going up against a bunch of guys who literally have no business guarding him in the NBA or in any other basketball court on the planet. Like, those dudes can't guard him. He's hunting switches on top of that. So subpar defenders that are matched up against him are not even getting to guard him. He's going up against guards that are, point guards, two guards that are just smaller than him. They can't do anything with him. And if he's got the mid-range jumper working, it's a wrap. Like, there's nothing you can do in that spot. So if y'all don't think that the Indiana game pissed Jimmy off, now you know, because he came out and he wanted to get buckets tonight. And again, with Kyle Lowry, the offense looks entirely different. Next, I want to go to Tyler Hero. I don't know what the heck you were watching. Like, I genuinely. But anyways, I'll let you speak. I'm sure you're going to speak your piece on that one. But man, I thought he had a really good floor game. Like, it was very, very clear. And I talked about this on the halftime Pace and Spaces, that he was a focal point for Orlando defensively. Like, he had no airspace. Defenders were glued to him. He was drawing double teams. He was drawing attention, like half rotations where the defender's anticipating that Tyler's going to go a certain way. So he, moves over he shifts over a couple spaces, and Tyler just adjusts by not forcing shots, not making, bad reads, actually making phenomenal reads in the half
Not
court,
doing
finding
shit,
dudes.
in other words. I'm sorry.
13-5 he had 13, 5, and 9. It's the 9 assists. Like he's always been a pretty good rebounding guard, but the 9 assists in the half court when the defense is tight and they're focused in on him shows me that, I mean, he's just making good plays. He's finding guys and he's not forcing anything. So like our guy Sean Rochester talked about, it shows maturity in his game. So, the first couple of games he scores 57 combined points. It's not because he's just shooting hot that we think he's gotten better. The floor game, everything has improved. So I thought that was a really encouraging game from him. And one really good game for Tyler Hero. I don't think Tyler Hero the last 2 years has a game like this if he's not shooting well.
I think Tyler had several games like this in the last 2 years. Hey, yo, y'all can kiss my ass with all that Tyler Slender puke emoji shit. I don't care, bro. You're not making me budge. Brian, what you saw from the game, bro?
I thought today's game actually looked like I thought everybody played pretty well today. I mean, a guy that we haven't mentioned yet was Markieff Morris. He hit about 6 more jumpers than I thought he would ever hit in the game. But props to him for having the game of his life. I think that I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but for me, this game felt a lot closer than it actually was. When you look at the numbers, the Heat were better than the Magic in just about every aspect of the game outside of three-point shooting. And if the Heat had hit a couple more threes, they probably would have scored over 115 points. I mean, they held the Magic to 90 points, 40% shooting. So everything really was going well for the Heat. They're undefeated in the Kyle Lowry era. So I'm with it. Tonight was a really good night.
Hey, Jim Will, Ariel will never.
He's about to make some problems over here.
Yeah, he's not gonna make no problems, Ariel. I know you're hard,
cool.
brother.
I'm cool.
I know you're hard, but he will never be the fucking host of this show, Jim Will. You gonna have to deal with me all the time. Jonathan Robinson, what were your thoughts on the game, brother?
Yeah, I thought it was a complete game overall. To add on to, of course, Ariel and Gad's point, Jimmy looked phenomenal tonight, right? I think it was his second best performance in a Heat uniform, and I mean, he had some nice dunks. He had that beautiful one in the first quarter where he caught that lob off the inbounds from Kyle Lowry. That was awesome. I thought really the story of this game was the defense, right? 20 points forced off turnovers. Like Brian said, we forced them to 40% shooting. So all of those turnovers and all of those bad looks that we forced him into turned into either fast break points or points off turnovers. So I felt like the defense was great there. Something we didn't talk about was just how effective Bam was, just kind of having like a middle ground game. We haven't really seen him be like middle, right? We've seen him start off hot and then not play in towards the end. We've seen him, just do patches of it or go either really hot or really cold. I feel like today's game was a game where he picked his spots. He hit a couple of jab step jumpers that looked absolutely beautiful. He just flowed really well in the game. What was it? 15 points, 13 rebounds. He was cleaning up the glass against two bigs down there, of course. But I felt like it was a great game. Started off in the first quarter, 15-2 run, and finished strong as well. So phenomenal game overall.
Yeah, I thought Bam played a really good floor game. Look, bro, y'all can miss me in the comments with that plus minus shit, bro. He was a plus 19 because he was on the court with Jimmy Butler dominating the damn game while he was getting credit for everything Jimmy was doing.
Oh my god,
bro. The whole time Jimmy busting Orlando's ass, and all I'm seeing is, wow, God. Tyler looks phenomenal.
No, do you fantastic too. Both of them were good.
But do you not feel like part of Jimmy getting such good looks, in addition to having Kyle Lowry, is that Tyler Hero all of a sudden is drawing all kinds of defensive attention?
No,
bro,
I believe that Kyle Lowry.
You have time today.
Yes, all the time, because I was sick of that shit. You're not gonna give the white man credit for Jimmy Butler's success. I would not have that. Go ahead, Dad. You said you had a question. You're the other one.
So obviously you're not a fan of Tyler Hero's floor game tonight.
I love Tyler Hero.
No. We're not switching up now that I'm asking the question.
Okay.
So how did you think that Kyle Lowry played tonight?
I think Kyle Lowry was the biggest reason.
Don't say anything. How do you think Kyle played?
He was 4 of 11 from the field.
Right.
With 9 points.
Right.
And 8 assists.
Right.
And Tyler Hero was 5 of 12 from the field. 13 points. Was that 9 assists and 5 boards?
Yeah. Kyle Lowry was phenomenal tonight, bro.
Can't even say it with a straight face. I
It's the
respect it.
intangible.
Damn it, bro.
Hold him accountable.
Okay, bro. I was gonna do this the whole show, bro. But damn it,
You can't.
I can't do it, bro. You fucked me up, bro. Okay, nah, bro. For real, Tyler did play well, bro. Like I was, Tyler. Fuck, Gad, I hate you, bro. I was gonna pull this shit out too, bro. I was gonna do this for an hour. But,
I can know.
But Tyler Hero played extremely well, and like most of you guys pointed out, I was really impressed with the way that he used other parts of his game. Like I said to y'all before we even started this, Tyler Hero showed development in the other areas of his game. Like, yes, we've seen him make strides as a 3-level scorer that we all hope that he will become. But tonight we also see him do better as a facilitator, kind of knowing, like you were saying, Ariel, when to pick his spots, when to shoot this ball. I do still believe that Kyle Lowry played phenomenally as well, because you just saw instantaneously from the beginning of the game how his presence affects the overall disposition of our players, especially Jimmy and Bam. Jimmy does not need to be like, shut up, Ardash, whatever the fuck your name is. Jimmy plays so much freer with Kyle Lowry on the court, and it's refreshing to see him attacking little people like Cole Anthony and making him his bitch on the court. So I liked everything that I saw from both of those guys. Let's get into the individual match. Oh yes, thank you for commenting. We want to thank the primary sponsor of the 5 Reasons Sports Post Game Show, Insurance by Lynette, Aggressive Insurance. Make sure you guys go holler at her for all of your insurance needs. She's always in the comments. Wonderful person. She does condo insurance, home insurance, driver's insurance. Any problem that you have with insurance, reach out to Aggressive Insurance at 954-581-8800 for all of your insurance needs, as well as aggressiveinsurance.com or insurancebylynette.com. I'm sorry. It's Aggressive Insurance on Twitter. So yeah, reach out to her. Thank you for your patronage. Okay, bro, y'all can stop, bro. Yeah, of course I already little people slander. That's racist. No, but let's get into some of these individual performances. I think everybody kind of made their points on Tyler Hero, but I want to dig a little bit deeper into his game. So the shot obviously wasn't falling, but he was getting similar looks that we talked about, like they consistent looks, decent looks. He wasn't forcing anything. I just kind of want to focus a little bit more on Tyler's game. Gad, what did Tyler do specifically tonight that impressed you more so than anything else?
I'm going to defer this to Brian, actually.
Oh, okay. One second. That's Brian.
Okay. Honestly, the thing that impressed me the most was the defense. I mean, I feel like for the first 2 years of Tyler's career, right, he's never been a good defender, but he's been an active defender. He's been a defender who at least gives effort on that end, and I think that as he's gotten stronger, faster, more explosive, his athleticism has kind of caught up with his defensive intensity. There was a couple of plays where he actually managed to keep up with Cole Anthony. There was a plays where he, I forget if it was Robin Lopez or Mo Bamba that he was chasing, I think, Cole Anthony, and Mo Bamba's or Robin Lopez screen. He didn't die on the screen. Like, he's actually tried to fight through the screen and got an offensive foul. So I really, really enjoyed that part of his game, seeing him not become a good defender, but become a solid defender.
Yeah, I said that on Twitter tonight too. Like tonight, Tyler's defense was what impressed me most as well. It was just he like you said, he wasn't dying on screens. He was able to stay attached to his man for the most part. Jonathan Ramlakan, what was the most impressive part of Tyler's game tonight for you?
I felt like his patience and his decision making throughout the game. I felt like he had just a really good feel. He was dribbling in and out. He wasn't making erratic passes. He was making the right passes. His assist turnover ratio was pretty good tonight. I just felt like his patience and his overall feel for the game tonight was really good. I'm not sure if having Kyle out there gives him a little more confidence, but it just seems like he has a little more maturity on the court when Kyle's out there with him as well. So I just liked his overall basketball IQ. I feel like that's starting to rise and catch up to the NBA level.
Yeah, I think that impact is for Kyle throughout the roster, which is going to lead me into another question that I wanted to ask you guys a little bit later on. Ariel, tell me what was the part of Tyler's game tonight that impressed you most?
So right before I go into that, Jonathan made a really good point about how it does seem like he plays better next to Kyle. Of course, obviously, Kyle's the type of guy that's going to make his teammates better. He's done that his entire career, so you expect that. But it's not like a novelty that young or not elite level NBA players play better when they play next to good players. Like, that's that's how it works in sports. So I mean, that's what you're gonna get if like we have this whole idea of, you know, Tyler Hero is going to be the sixth man and he's going to carry the bench unit and all of that. But how often is Tyler Hero out there with 4 other bench players? Like, it never happens. Spo doesn't run 5-man bench lineups. He always has one of Jimmy, Bam, Kyle out there with the bench guys, and he staggers his stars. That's what most NBA coaches do anyways. So I thought, look, the most impressive part of Tyler's game to me tonight was what I mentioned earlier, the reads in the half court, the fact that he's getting pressured. And so, you know, he'll try to get downhill, or he'll try to get to a spot to get to a jump or whatever. The passing, the driving lane gets cut off, a help defender rotates, whatever it is. And he just makes the right play. Like, again, I mentioned these comments are making it real tough. I mentioned this recently that, like, it seems like everything is kind of slowed down for him, right? We see the maturity, the growth in his game in terms of just everything having slowed down. The way that he processes everything in the half court has slowed down for him, and he makes the right decision more frequently than he has in the past, more specifically last year. So instead of trying to force up tough shots in situations where, you know, the percentage on that shot is going to be really bad, he finds the open man. He threads the needle inside for the pass. Like, we've seen that over the last few games. We saw it multiple times tonight. Just overall very impressed with the growth in his game. We know he can get buckets. There's been improvements there as well. The floater has gotten better. The jump shot from the mid-range is absolutely, like, disgusting the first couple of games. But now the playmaking seems to be catching up to all of that. And you put all that together, you have a really good young player.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is genuine. I don't know how much the playmaking is catching up to the scoring. I don't believe that'll ever be the case where it's on par. But I do think that I do think that there has been growth in that area of his game, and part of that was the struggles of last year, being forced to play the point guard role for a little bit, being in more pick and roll situations, having the ball in his hands more. It's forced him to kind of pick it up in that area of his game. And you saw that tonight, bro. Like, you saw him able to create things for other players when he wasn't able to get to what he was trying to get to offensively. Gad, are you ready to talk about Tyler Hero now, or do I still have to wait?
Sure. Yeah. I think they all really, my esteemed colleagues here, did a fantastic job covering what Tyler Hero did. But I just think you look at this guy, like, if we can count on Tyler Hero night in and night out, that's really 4 players that you can count on to be there at all times. That's huge for this team. So if that's going to be a thing, this team might be. I said it last game too, although we lost and I was frustrated. Everybody a little frustrated, except Ariel was level-headed because he's smart. This team they could be pretty damn good. So we'll see if Tyler's able to keep it up. But what he's shown us so far is, like, it's not really it doesn't look like it's fluky. Like, it looks like this is something that he can genuinely do, whether it's scoring, passing the ball on nights where the shot's not falling, and just taking the right kind of shots, not forcing anything, really just playing within the flow of the offense. That's what he's been doing, and it's working, and it's making this team better. So I'm just really excited with what Tyler can bring for the next 79 games.
Ron Thurger, I just want to let you know that I'm a happily married man, and I will not be tolerating your sexual advances on me on this stream, bro. It makes me uncomfortable. Me too. Let's talk about Kyle Lowry a little bit, because I saw this on Twitter, and I thought it was an interesting notion. Somebody said that this team already looks like it's Kyle Lowry's team, because we've seen.
Yeah. That was Twan. That was our boy Twan.
Twan's smart.
Yeah, Twan's very smart. And this team looks like it goes as Kyle Lowry goes already, even in the first 3 games. Is there any validity to that, or is this Kyle Lowry's team, or is it still Jimmy's team? Jonathan, we'll start with you on this question.
It's still Jimmy Butler's team, but Kyle Lowry is going to be the one who dictates kind of what happens, right? I mean, we saw that tonight, right? Jimmy was just focusing on scoring the ball whilst Kyle was getting everybody in their sets, was facilitating, looking down court, setting him up. So I feel like this still is Jimmy's team, but the playmaking is going to be spearheaded more by Kyle Lowry now, just because of what he is as a position of the player. He's the point guard of the team. So it may feel like that. You know, the team might be playing faster because of that, but I feel like this is still Jimmy Butler's team. You know, down to 5 seconds to go, you probably still put the ball in Jimmy Butler's hands. So, like I said, Kyle will dictate the pace and will dictate the on-court play. But as far as whose team it is when it comes down to the game, I think it's still Jimmy Butler's team.
Yeah.
I think it is Jimmy Butler's team, but Jimmy Butler's going to be the one finishing play. Everyone else is going to finish the play. Kyle's going to be the one initiating everything. So from a basketball standpoint, like you could say it's Kyle's team because they're going to be playing at Kyle's pace. But you know who the top dog is. I think it's Jimmy Butler and will be for the rest of the season. But there's someone that can kind of take some of the pressure off the top dog, which is something that we've really needed over the last few years.
Yeah, I think somebody in the comments said it. Jimmy Butler is the best player on Kyle Lowry's team, and to me that sounds pretty accurate. Like I know this is a narrative that a lot of players hate, like whose team it is or whatever. But when I'm talking about team, I'm just talking about who's going to dictate, like who's the more important person on his team. We know Jimmy Butler's the best player, but is his role more important than what Kyle Lowry's role is? I guess the question that I'm getting to, Ariel.
Kind of hard to answer because I'm trying to while we're doing this exercise, I'm thinking in my head, like, is the team better over the course of an 82 game season if you remove Kyle Lowry from it or if you remove Jimmy Butler? Now, when everyone's healthy, Kyle Lowry's kind of like the engine of the offense, right? Similar to what Bam Adebayo was for the offense last year. But I don't think any of us considered Bam Adebayo to be the best player on the team last year. That's Jimmy Butler. So I think it's kind of a similar thing this year. Kyle's kind of deciding what pace they play at. He's the one bringing the ball up the court probably 75% of the time, but he gets the ball, even if he doesn't bring it up, the ball finds him, as soon as the player crosses half court, and then Kyle kind of decides where it's going and what we're running and what we're doing. So, I think in terms of importance and in terms of who the best player is, it's still Jimmy Butler. I think they have, you put this team in a playoff series, you simulate it one time without Kyle Lowry, and then you simulate it one time without Jimmy Butler. I think the Jimmy Butler team just has a better chance to win. He's just a higher caliber player, but there's no way to understate the importance of Kyle Lowry to the team's offense and defense. We saw it in the last game, right? They looked like last year's offense all of a sudden, and then you see them tonight. You see them in the Milwaukee game, and they blow out the team both games. Granted, tonight was not a blowout, but they generally control the game, and there was not really any point where I was particularly worried that they were going to lose the game. They look good for the most part, and if they make their threes, it never even gets close. So, the answer is Jimmy Butler either way, but Kyle is supremely important here for sure.
Yeah, Brian, we're getting to it, bro.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think that as far as narrative goes, it's still Jimmy Butler's team. He's still the best player, but I feel like Kyle Lowry changes the dynamic of the team more so than any other player. I think that going back to the hypothetical of if you remove Kyle Lowry or Jimmy Butler from the team, which version of that team is better over 82, I would guess it'd be the team with Jimmy Butler, but I feel like you remove Kyle Lowry and all of a sudden Bam is back to having to be a facilitator. Same with Jimmy. You're probably relying on Tyler Hero to be a point guard more again. Whereas with Kyle, those guys can kind of focus on, scoring primarily, which changes the dynamic, the look of this team much more than, you remove Jimmy. And I think everyone still kind of has very similar roles. So I guess to answer the question, yeah, it's still Jimmy Butler's team, but the changes or the look of the team is so much more different with Kyle Lowry playing.
Yeah, I think I'm different. I think this is Kyle Lowry's team. Not in the locker room. In the locker room is Jimmy's team. On the court, this is Kyle Lowry's team. We're going to play the way that he wants for us to play. And I think that's for the benefit of the team. I think it's for the betterment. Everybody's better when Kyle Lowry's on the court, including Jimmy Butler. We saw it when you put Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry's I did, bro. When you put Kyle Lowry in, or when you put Jimmy Butler in Kyle Lowry's role, then the team looks like it did last year. And when you put Kyle Lowry in the game, then the team all of a sudden looks like world beaters. So I think at this point, Kyle Lowry is the most important piece to the team.
Yo, these comments are on one tonight. I have to say,
bro, they are. Somebody said they're gonna give me a week before I come back to Jimmy. Oh. Listen, bro.
Yes, sir. Something knows what's up.
Bro,
that's right.
Hey, bro, y'all quit exposing me, bro. Let's talk about Bam a little bit because I think he was kind of like an unsung hero in this game. Didn't really look like he was doing much. People were still talking about his aggressiveness in the second half. I can hear myself through somebody's screen. But yeah, people were talking about how Bam was. I guess less aggressive, but to me, he looked fine. Like
Yeah.
how many rebounds did he end up having? It's not you, Ariel.
13.
I think it's Gad because Gad doesn't have
13, I believe.
13.
Yeah. Bam rebounded well. I think he played well. Or am I tripping, Brian? We'll let you start on Bam. How did Bam play to you tonight?
I thought usually get called Blam. No, I thought Bam played great. You can't really argue with 16, 13, and 2 assists. I mean, yeah, I guess the old Bam could have shot more arguments, but he took 8 free throws. Like he was attacking, and on a night where Jimmy Butler had 34, it's not like Bam needed to put up 20 plus shots. So I don't know. Like I have no problems with Bam's game tonight. I thought he looked great.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm right there with Brian, man. He's taking that jumper with so much more fluidity. Like, we're not even talking about it because we expected it so much, but we've seen this game alone. We saw about 3 or 4 jab step jump shots where he had Mo Bamba, who is 7 feet tall, on him, and he jab stepped and took that jumper and splashed it right home. And he started off doing that from the tip. So I like you said, he's kind of underappreciated, especially now that we have Kyle Lowry and we see everything else going on. It's all flashy. We see the improvements with Tyler Hero. Bam's kind of getting lost in the mix, and we're underappreciating the improvements that he's making, especially to the things we were clamoring about last year, like his jump shot and him being more aggressive, because he's doing those 2 things. And it's, unfortunately didn't get us the win in Indiana, but it's showing at least in our 2 wins.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Bam's been good. He's dominating the paint, which is kind of something that people wanted to see last year. Everyone's saying, oh, Bam's not an elite rebounder, Bam, whatever. He's doing a great job in the paint. The only problem that I think I've had with Bam thus far is just there's some moments where he's way too willing to switch and get out on the perimeter. And just being more selective with it is probably like one of my main criticisms with him. But, I mean, he's doing fine. Ricky said in the comments, made a great point. Like, Bam is best suited to be a third option right now. And that's what Bam is. He's very comfortable in his role. He's going to be doing a fantastic job. And I know people are going to look at like the raw shooting attempt numbers, like 9 shot attempts tonight. But he also did get 8 free throws. So like being able to get to the free throw line is going to supplement his scoring. And that's what I want to see from Bam. Can you get those gritty in the paint, physical points? Do those things and you will be okay. And he's been doing those things. So I'm very pleased with what I've seen from Bam. And he's going to play a huge role in this team. Like, he's probably the anchor of our defense. He's doing a great job.
I like the fact that his rebounding numbers are going up this year because of the ability to drop in the defense. And he just seems to be more aggressive in the paint, like you guys are alluded to. Like, I like to see him do more big man things, more of the traditional big man things, while still maintaining the small guy things that he was able to do outside of the paint. Ariel, where are you on Bam's game tonight?
I'm trying to kind of figure out where I want to go with this, because I feel like the narrative on Bam switches based on whether or not the Heat win or lose. So in the last game, then what we talked about on here, well, not me, what y'all talked about on here was how Bam disappeared at the end of the game and he wasn't aggressive. And I actually, like, I more or less generally agreed with that as far as like how he played at the end of the game. But I don't agree that, coming off a game like that, he needs to be more aggressive. He needs to do more of this, and that. Last game, he didn't shoot well. He went 6 of 15. But again, 15 shot attempts, right? Tonight he has, what was it? 9 shot attempts, 8 free throw attempts. That's 4 trips to the free throw line. If you take those 4 trips to the free throw line and, simulate them as shot attempts,
13.
All of a sudden that's 13 shots. It's less shots than in the last game. But because the Heat won tonight, we're saying he had a good game. To me, I think he had a good game either way. Like, I just, for me, Bam doesn't have to shoot 20 times for me to be comfortable with the kind of game that he has. Do I want him to look to take advantage of mismatches and look to get his own offense going? For sure. But you don't have to force it, and it has to come within the flow of the game. Bam does so much more for this offense than just score points. Again, I agree with Ricky. I don't think that Bam needs to be the number one option for this team to be successful. I think he's a very capable and high-level third option for this team. You look at the other parts of his game. Gad mentioned the rebounding. He's been a phenomenal rebounding the basketball so far this season. Why didn't he rebound as much last season? Well, he's switching out on the perimeter all the time because the Heat's perimeter defenders sucked last season, and so he had to do that. Now, I agree with Gad that, like, you don't want to see him doing that all the time, although it is one of the greater strengths of his game. He's more valuable to this team in the drop because you're better up front at the perimeter, at the point of attack defensively, this season than you were last season. So it allows the Heat to drop more. He can stay closer to the basket. He's getting more rebounds. Stats make people happy. I'm fine with Bam's game. I thought he played very well.
Stats do make people happy. These stats won't make anybody happy. Duncan Robinson, 3 of 10, 2 of 8 from the three-point line, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Kind of a meh game, but it's the third game in a row where it's kind of looking like this a little bit. I don't know if you want to call the other one because he was like 4 of 9 the other night, but it's a game where it's like Duncan Robinson is not having the same level of impact that we saw last year. And it's too early to be concerned about his game, but I do want to kind of acknowledge his struggles. So thank you, Pride by Pack TV, for the $4.99. Don't know. He said, after a few games, who should be our number one scorer if Bam will be our third? Our number one scorer should be Jimmy Butler or Tyler Hero.
There it is.
Yeah,
you
see, I had to pause to see whether or not I knew
he didn't want to go there.
I didn't want to say it, but yeah, like Tyler Hero or Jimmy Butler have to be our top scorers for the night. That's interchangeable. Along with Bam is the third interchangeable person who could be our leading scorer.
Yep.
But you can have those three interchanging, and between Jimmy, Kyle, the rest of the other three, then kind of like fill in the blank spots.
Against Brooklyn, he has to be our leading scorer.
Who?
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Yes.
Like this Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
I think this is going to be a game where Bam has like 25 plus.
Right, because he has the biggest mismatch in that game, and so they're going to be looking for him in those spots to be an effective scorer.
Kyle will be.
Kyle what?
Kyle will be. Kyle will be looking. You think he was trying to making a concerted effort to get Bam the ball in the first 2 games, the first 3 games rather. Wait till the Brooklyn game.
Part of me wants Kyle to try and focus on his own game and try and figure out how to get his shot to start.
I was hoping we would get to that.
Yeah, we are.
Very interesting how the narrative changes, Royal.
You feel me? Like, bro, I got a text message that didn't make me too happy, so now I'm more realistic as opposed to just doing whatever's happening for the show. So let's talk about Duncan Robinson's game tonight. The struggle. Just talk about the season overall, and like, is a hint of doubt starting to seep in about how Duncan Robinson will fill this role this season, Gad?
No, not really. I think he's fine. It's just like you have to. I think people, when they see the number 90 million, like they shift their expectations. I personally don't believe that Duncan Robinson will be getting paid all 90 million from the Miami Heat. So at this point, this season, he's getting paid $15 million, which you're relying on him to be an elite shooter, maybe give you some average production elsewhere. But with all that being said, I do think we do need more from Duncan Robinson. His looks are probably easier this year, and there's some times where he's pulling a Ben Simmons open 3. He's not pulling it. He had a time where he was at the rim and he just flipped it out to somebody, just turnover. You can't do those things. I think we've seen an improvement in his passing. When they do overplay him, he's doing a great job of kind of hitting that dump off pass when there's 2 people on him and then you're playing 4-on-3. But he needs to turn it up from a shooting perspective, and he needs to just play more loose. He looks like he's being really tentative, and it's affecting him on the defensive end too. His closeouts have been ridiculously sloppy. They've been really, really bad. He's jumping sometimes. He's a step or 2 late, and he hasn't really been getting in too much foul trouble, but it kind of reminds me of Duncan at the beginning of last season and the year before, where he was just out of position, so he would foul. Last year, by the end of the year, he was in position, and he would just panic. Now we're out of position, and that is a much bigger problem than being in position. So I need to see the defense be a little bit better. Need to see him be more sharper. And I think he'll be all right. But the shots will definitely – I think they'll start to fall eventually.
Yeah, for sure. I think so too. I'm pretty confident in him. Somebody was in there saying, like, we need to free Ricky because this man typing paragraphs. You ain't never been in no group text with Ricky.
Yeah.
I tell you that. You're gonna learn something about basketball today. Brian, you tell me about Duncan Robinson. How are you feeling about him so far? Do you think he can turn this around in the next few games?
Yeah, I do. I mean, Duncan Robinson has done one thing at an elite level for his whole basketball career. It's not like Duncan Robinson forgot how to shoot. Like, this is what happens with shooters, right? It's ups and downs, right? His first 3 games haven't been great, but at least tonight, like, I really like his cutting. I really like his passing. Like, I don't know. Like, I think he'll be fine. It's a down game for a shooter, which is totally normal. Does he need to play better? Of course, but I have full confidence that he will in the future.
Did somebody say trade Duncan for Wall? There's no way that is happening.
What the hell are we doing here?
You can't.
Yeah.
You got to find like another
me
20
mad.
million
I'm
in
mad
salary
now.
to make it work. It's not even possible.
Bro, that man's gonna get
They
bought
can give
out
us
and he's
Christian
gonna come
Wood.
to Miami.
John Wall's the worst contract in the NBA.
That contract's gonna get bought out, and they are going to put him on the Miami Heat for $1.79, which somebody should donate to me right now to pay for John Wall's salary. Jonathan Ramacon, talk about Duncan Robinson. How are you feeling about him so far during the season? Do you think that there's an avenue to him getting back on track early in the season? I'm not talking about like later on down the line.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's kind of being put into a different role now, right? Kyle Lowry is the one that's initiating offense, and not everything is being gone through with that dribble handoff. So he's not getting those same kind of looks where he's pretty much the focal point of the offense and everything revolves around him. He's getting a lot of more catch and shoot opportunities where he's, spotting up, getting those kind of looks. And I think Ariel mentioned it one of the old post games about how we were more comfortable with him off of a dribble handoff versus then on a catch and shoot. And, with that being said, that's going to be something that needs to change this season, right? That's going to be the biggest thing that's going to have to change. He's going to have to understand how to offensively fill his role from going from the main focal point to somebody that's the receiving end of having 3-star players around you. So I think we will be able to see that, though. He's a smart dude. We've seen him make transitions and growth already in the league. So I'm not too worried about it. I think he'll get it done and find out how to move forward.
Yeah, Ariel, we seen Duncan kind of struggle last year with the trade rumors surrounding him. Do you think the weight of the new contract may be playing a role into his shooting struggles? And do you, like everybody else, do you see him kind of like turning the ship around sooner rather than later?
I don't think the contract plays into it. I think you get on the basketball court, especially, and of course, this is not speaking from experience, but I'm assuming that as a shooter of Duncan Robinson's level, right, he's one of the 3 or 4 best shooters on the planet that, he's getting better looks on average. As this offense matures and they all gel and everybody gets used to each other, and Kyle Lowry specifically starts to find his offense, it's going to change things. This Heat team is not a finished product right now. Even with the personnel they have on the roster, they are not a finished product. I think he's getting better looks than he was getting last season, right? And he will continue to get better looks than he got last season. The difference is, as Jonathan mentioned, the way in which those looks are coming to him are different, right? So he's not the primary focus of the offense. He's not the number one set that they're running is not the Bam Duncan dribble handoff. So Duncan's getting his shots more as like a release valve for the offense as opposed to being the primary, like what it is that they're looking for every single time down. So instead of them coming off of a dribble handoff, they're coming much more in catch and shoot situations. And I think sometimes, I think Gad mentioned this, I think he sometimes seems like he's a little bit surprised by how open he is. And he kind of just doesn't know, like, do I shoot this? Do I like wait for the defender to get a little bit closer and then shoot it? Do I pass this? Like, what do I do here? So I think it's game 4. Right? No, that was game 3 of the regular season. Like we're talking super, super early season stuff. I don't think it's fair for me on the last show to say we don't have to worry about Jimmy Butler. He's going to be just fine. Everything's going to be fine while everyone around me is burning the house down. And then for me to take the opposite approach on Duncan Robinson. So I think Duncan Robinson's going to be fine as well. He's too good of a shooter to not knock down those shots eventually. I think water reaches his level and he'll be just fine.
Yeah, so one thing I got Kendall
Smith
for the
Go ahead. What do you think?
I want to thank my guy Kendall Smith for the $2 dono, the Kang himself. He said, "Keep the change, Kang." Yeah, right. And also,
I would
thank
just
my guy
say,
Ricky with the gang economics comment. Like I like that gang economics. I get that. Go ahead, John.
he might have J.R. Smith syndrome where he needs to have somebody like in his face to actually make the shot, and if not, it's just gonna brick.
That's where he doesn't think about it. Like he doesn't question if the ball's gonna go in.
Adam Barad made that point to me like last year. He was like, he feels like Duncan Robinson. He feels like Duncan Robinson is better shooting contested 3-pointers, like wide open 3-pointers. He struggles with. He's better shooting contested, and there are players like that. So there may be some merit to that. Bro, man. I done told y'all, bro, I'm going to step in on my brother Gad's behalf, bro. I'm not going to let you abuse him like this in these comments. Yeah, here's something that y'all kind of entertained a little bit on the spaces, the halftime spaces, which everybody should check out at the halftime of every game. It was, you know what I'm talking about? The Tyler Starr.
I know exactly where we're going, yes.
Yeah. Somebody there was a question brought up about whether Tyler should start over Duncan Robinson amidst these shooting struggles, and I kind of want to get everybody here's thoughts on it. And Brian, we'll start with you. Do you think Tyler would be a better fit in the starting lineup than Duncan Robinson at this point?
Nope. Tyler Hero is straight up nope. Tyler's perfect in the role that he's been in, and I think that him coming off the bench has a lot to do with the success. Also, like for the struggles that Duncan has had through 3 games, I mean, the next game Duncan could go 6 of 8 from 3. Like this is not something that I think we need to be considering, or it's not we because we don't make those decisions. But I don't think it's something that Spo's worried about. I don't think it's something that anybody in the team is worried about. Like it'll be fine. Like I think Duncan will be all right. It's gonna within the next couple of games, we won't even be talking about Duncan shooting struggles. We're talking about how great Duncan is from 3. We're talking about how he's a top 3 shooter in the league. Like it's fine. We're good.
Yeah, I think that's the case for most of the stuff that we're talking about now. It's just early in the season. And so you have to find a hill to die on early in the season. Like that's my philosophy on basketball. Find a hill early to die on. Ramakan, do you think that that Tyler should replace Duncan Robinson in the starting lineup?
Absolutely not. Period.
Okay. Analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Gad, because I know what Ariel's answer is already, but because I heard him say it. But Gad,
no, I don't think you're not starting Tyler Hero yet. Is he deserving of it a little bit? How much he's improved? Sure, but that's not how Spo works. He's not starting the best 5 players at all times. He's closing with the best 5 players. I think that's what's more important. Playing for the Miami Heat, Tyler's going to close. I don't think that's a question. Even through 3 games, he's earned it. He's earned that respect before from Spo, so he's going to close. I think the moment where you could see maybe Tyler moving to the starting lineup would be closer to the end of the season, where you look at what a Victor Oladipo, Duncan Robinson bench would look like. That would actually make sense a little bit. He kind of fits with both of them, so I don't really care. But if you think Tyler earned it that much, it's going to be later on in the year if Victor gets back to being Victor Oladipo. But as it stands, no. And I think Duncan's going to be totally fine. So these questions might go away in a little bit. But Tyler is definitely playing well enough where he's kind of earned this conversation.
Yeah, this question went away as soon as I heard it in my mind. Like, I did not want any parts of it, but I thought it was interesting, especially considering what I heard from Ariel when they were talking about it. Ariel, your opinion is you still ended up with the same conclusion, but there was a different avenue that you took in terms of how you got there, and I want you to bring that to this space.
So my short answer is no. You start Duncan. He fits better with the starting 5. If he's shooting well, we don't even have this conversation. Maybe we like entertain it for a second, but generally speaking, we don't have this conversation if he's shooting well right now. The only reason we're having it is because he hasn't shot particularly well. Now, let's assume that Duncan goes back to shooting well, because regardless of whether or not he shoots well, his biggest attribute, number one thing that he's bringing to the court is that he's drawing a ton of attention from the defense, generally speaking, right? Like defenses are terrified of him. I went to every game I've been to in the last couple of years on the road. I went to 2 games in Toronto. When Duncan Robinson shoots the ball, you can hear an audible gasp in the arena. Like everyone's afraid. They're like, oh shit, like we're fucked. So the thing with Tyler is, like, we want him coming off the bench because he's a better fit with the bench unit, right? He's a ball handler. You don't really need that additional ball handling in the starting 5. You've got Kyle Lowry, you've got Jimmy Butler, and then when you need it, you've got Bam Adebayo as well. However, Spo very rarely runs 5-man bench units. So it's not like Tyler's out there with 4 other bench players and he has to create everything. He is usually out there with one of Jimmy Butler or Kyle Lowry and or Bam Adebayo. So it's not like he's just, this whole notion that Tyler has to carry the bench because you need a ball handler on the bench. It's a little overblown. Spo never plays 5-man bench units. He staggers his guys. So I don't really think it matters all that much whether he starts or comes off the bench a ton.
Can I say one thing with that though?
Yeah, sure.
That point with Tyler is like he is capable of like initiating plays and starting plays, but he is the only guy on the bench that you are comfortable with finishing plays. I think that's the biggest difference.
Sure.
You don't want the ball in Duncan's hands with 8 seconds left. Say, do something. With Tyler, you're comfortable saying that.
Right. But my point is, like, it's not like he's out there with 4 other bench guys. Like, he'll be out there with Jimmy and or Kyle and or Bam. So those it doesn't really, again, Spo's bench lineups aren't really bench lineups. They're just kind of like a secondary team that he subs in and out with the first team, and then he just finds combinations he likes and sticks with them. Now, the thing that's changed with Tyler's game is what we saw tonight, in that he was drawing a ton of attention from the defense. He seemed like the number one guy that the defense game planned for. Defenders are constantly like paying attention to where he's going. They're rotating over to try to cut off his drives and help on him. And he's shifting the defense with his movements. And that's what leads to him being able to find guys and make these intelligent reads in the half court. And that's why he got 9 assists. Now, if this is something that's sustainable and this becomes a thing going forward where defenses are really keying in on Tyler, then he's having a very similar effect to what Dunkin Robinson has on the court. So to me, Tyler keeps playing at this level. I think listen, it's too early for transaction talk, but I think we might get to a point where we're going to start talking about, is Dunkin Robinson expendable? Can you find can you find something where you can plug a hole somewhere else on the roster? Because if you put Tyler Hero into the starting four, if you put Tyler Hero into the starting 5, and he has that same function, he has that same effect on opposing defenses that Dunkin Robinson has. Plus, he gives you ball handling, he gives you playmaking, he gives you some other stuff that Dunkin just doesn't have. We have a conversation to be had here. I don't know if we're there yet. I don't think we're there yet, but I think we might get there.
I don't think we're there yet either. I do believe that we're going to eventually get there, and I believe that I'm going to be annoyed when we do get there. I think somebody said it in the conversation. We're forgetting everything that Dunkin's done over the last 3 years. We're not forgetting what Dunkin has done. That's why we paid Dunkin. We remember everything that Dunkin did. We know his role very well, and that's why you heard the level of patience amongst his panel that you have amidst his early season struggles. What we are saying is that there's a realization that this team may still be incomplete. And one of the better avenues to getting us there is a player who's currently struggling in Dunkin Robinson. And if you have a skill set off the bench in Tyler Hero that can come in there and sufficiently replace that, then there's reason, there's rationale to getting rid of Dunkin in the process. I don't like it because I don't think I want Tyler Hero starting, but that's only because, I mean, it's not for the regular reasons that I'd be on here making up. It's because legitimately I believe in Tyler Hero's ball handling off the bench. Like, yes, we do run those bench lineups where we have one of the other big three in there, but having Tyler in there with them gives them a secondary ball handler as opposed to replacing Dunkin Robinson in that spot where the ball handler is only the ball handler. All right, so like, look, bro, like
that's a terrible comment.
That's one hell of a comment.
Not going to lie. If Ari said we should start Dedmon over Bam, I think I would believe him.
No,
listen,
I can't make that argument.
You could, and you probably
could. You'd all scream at me.
Culture tech tonight. Bam didn't get a culture tech.
First of all, okay, so let's talk about one of the Wagners. I can't remember which one it was.
Oh my God, Mo.
One of them's good. The other one's angry.
That boy was looking for it tonight.
We got to be very careful because he's Dunkin Robinson's best friend or something like that. But Mo Wagner, they
probably saved his life.
Yeah, no, they played together at Michigan, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I saw it on the Long Shot podcast, which I watched. But yeah, so he tried to get killed twice tonight by the Morris twin and Dedmon.
Unk and Morris, yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like,
I tweeted all he needs to do, like to really seal his fate tonight, is just get on UD and PJ Tucker's nerves. That's all he needs to do.
Yeah, that boy funeral will be on Saturday at 11 o'clock.
That's right.
But no, I do want to kind of spend some time on Markieff Morris, who we've been hammering since he got here. Brian, there's something interesting that somebody's read. I can't remember who said it, but it was like maybe it was his conditioning that had a lot to do with.
I think it was Ricky.
It was Ricky, yeah.
It was Ricky.
Yep. Okay, so maybe Morris's conditioning had a lot to do with the way that he was playing. He looks a little slimmer now. His game came around. How did you feel about his game tonight? Did you take anything away from it that made you optimistic about the way that he'll play for the rest of the season?
I mean, he looked great tonight, but I don't know what his conditioning has to do with him being able to shoot, which he's never really been able to do well in the NBA. So, hey, if he slimmed down, that's great for him. Like, I don't think that translates to a better basketball player per se. I'm not saying that Markieff Morris is, like a trash player. Obviously, like, he's been a decent role guy in the NBA for years, but I don't think that we should expect Markieff Morris at this point to all of a sudden become a good shooter from three or from mid-range at all. Like, every jumper he took, essentially, because I think he was perfect on shooting. Well, except for 3. I think he went 1 of 4 from 3. But like every jumper that Markieff Morris took was a no, yes type situation. And I would hope that in the future, this doesn't encourage him to shoot those type of shots again. Like, again, props to him tonight, but I have absolutely no confidence that this is a repeatable performance. So, yeah.
Hey, bro, I don't think we should put up any more Twisted Tapioca comments. He said that Tyler Hero was Luka Doncic tonight, and I disagree vehemently.
Aggregating.
Hey, check the stats though. I'm just saying. Look at their numbers.
Don't get.
Yep.
That's what's happening now. Yes. Yeah, because I got producer power now. I can kick people out. I don't like it though. It makes me feel dirty on the inside. Jonathan, tell me what you thought about Markieff Morris. Did you see anything that you think was sustainable? Did you like the way they used him in any way differently tonight? Just overall thoughts.
Yeah, I just felt like he put himself in better spots to just have some better looks, right? He, instead of just staying out at the 3-point line, he rolled in a little bit closer to that little mid-range, get that little short jumper to go. And I feel like that's good for him because once he starts just getting the groove of catching the ball, catching that ball in the pocket and getting that jump shot to go, he'll start getting those threes to go. And I said it, during the preseason, we'll probably get one game out of every 4 or 5 that he just goes off, and then the rest of it will be regression, right? Like that's just how it's gonna be. We're gonna get one game like this where he's like 7 for 7, and then he's gonna go like 2 for 8 for the next 4 or 5 games. So there is a small percentage chance that we see some level of consistency out of this. Maybe we see more of that mid-range jumper instead of him floating out to that 3-point line. Defensively, it's not too bad, right? It's not too bad because Unk is they're pretty. It's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. They move their feet pretty well. They cover a lot of I can't remember who said it, but acreage, right? They got a lot of acreage out there and a lot of big bodies. So defensively, not as bad as I thought it would be. And offensively, I feel like if he continues that mid range, we can maybe hope and pray that one every 3 or 4 games he gives us a performance like this, and we get a win.
Yeah, Gad, your memory is impeccable to remember who said all of these things. I just want to point that out to the crowd. You're helping us in the major.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't believe there's any way in hell that Markieff Morris does this again for the rest of the season. But somebody else in the comments said that he's an upgrade over what's that boy name who Alana really likes? Mo Harkless. Yeah,
not saying much.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, bro.
Caleb Martin might be an upgrade over Mo Harkless.
Wait, hold up. But like Miami Mo Harkless or Sacramento Kings Mo Harkless? Because
we don't care about what happens over at that.
Okay, then I agree.
Team.
All right, but yeah, Miami Mo Harkless, he's an improvement over there by leaps and bounds. I think he's out. This game he scored more points than Mo Harkless scored in his entire career with Miami.
Probably did.
No, it's definitely. It's not even a question. Ariel, I'm gonna let Gad wrap us up on this conversation. So you tell us what you thought about weight. Yes. Thank you, Lonnie Daniels, for the $10 dono. He said, y'all acknowledge me a lot tonight. I appreciate that. That's real. 100 Heat Nation. Let's go Heat. We appreciate you, bro. Thank you for tapping in with us. Make sure you keep doing it. I know I usually call y'all zeros and ones, and I love y'all. I don't mean that at all. Ariel, go ahead and tell us about what you thought about Markieff Morris. What parts of that was sustainable to you?
I don't know how much of it is sustainable. I generally agree with a lot of what's been said. I feel like, if you've watched him the last couple of years, this is kind of who he is. He can have some good games here and there. He'll have them, but they're not going to come every night or every other night. So, look, I think we all need to kind of temper expectations a little bit. I don't think it's fair to hold his feet to the fire when he's here on a minimum contract. They didn't bring him in, on PJ Tucker's deal, which isn't even a big deal in itself. But I'm just saying, he's a minimum level player. You expect minimum level NBA production from that player. So that would mean that once every 5-6 games, he gives you a nice boost. He helps you out. And that's what he did tonight, right? Like there were stretches in the game. I think actually in the third quarter when the Orlando Magic kind of tightened it up a little bit, they got it to within 6 and 8 points a few times. He made some timely buckets. Like he had that and one jumper, like in a crucial point. I think they were up 6 or 7 at that point. The Heat were. So look, all you can expect from him really is that he doesn't kill you. He isn't a huge negative for you offensively. He isn't, going 0 for 9, 0 for 8 every night. But do you expect this kind of performance consistently? No. The mid-range jumper is just kind of okay. It's not great. It's not terrible, but it's not great. The 3-point jumper, He's never been a great three-point shooter. He can make them from time to time, but that's about it. So, again, temper expectations. The issue here is that the Heat don't have the starting caliber 4 that you really want there. And if they did, then this wouldn't be an issue at all. So temper expectations, minimum player, minimum level production, and hopefully the Heat can address that. What are we laughing at? The most white people do. Hey, that was Dunkin Robinson, by the way.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you, David Sasson, for your $2 worth of lies talking about Duncan J.R. Smith Robinson tonight. Duncan Gerald Green Robinson.
Duncan Vince Carter Robinson.
You know it, bro. Duncan Derrick Jones Jr. Robinson had the most electrifying dunk of the night. And you right here talking about it's the most white people dunk in history, bro. The boy, Duncan Robinson, slam dunk contest.
He banged that thing.
He didn't go airplane mode. He went blimp mode.
The boy went hot air balloon mode on that bit.
Yep.
Gadiel Cardenas. It
So-
sounds like everybody just said Markieff Morris sucks, bro, and I don't want to hear that anymore.
Yeah, I want to say actually some good things about Markieff Morris because the minute we signed him, I know Marco and I were like the very first people between PJ and Markieff. We're like, wow, we have no offense from this position, and everyone is trying to tell us, no, they'll be fine, they'll get better in Miami. They've been playing with good players their entire lives, but I do want to say this about Markieff. I think he's starting to understand like what he's at least okay at. So like he's not camping out on the 3-point line. Like to Jonathan's point, he made a fantastic point. He's getting to his spots. Now, is he great from those spots? No. But is he serviceable? Can he be a backup 4 from those spots? Yes. And one thing I think he was doing very well, he's having very timely cuts, whether it was with Jimmy, Tyler, whoever was driving and dishing to him. He was in the dunker spot at the right time, like 3 or 4 separate times a night. That's a huge, huge deal for Markieff. So if he's able to do that and give you like 6 to 8 points as opposed to maybe 2 on like 1 of 9 shooting, that's going to be a big deal. And I feel like those types of points might be sustainable. The 5 of 5 on mid-range or whatever it was, 3 of 3 on mid-range, that's not going to happen every night. There's going to be nights where he goes 0 of 6 on mid-range. I just think keep the overall volume low and just kind of play off of everybody else. Like be more of a cutter, more of a kind of sitting dunker spot guy. Then he can actually be a positive off the bench, which is we desperately need that from that position.
Yeah, Lonnie, nobody calls me Little Bill except for Welch, and that's because Welch sucks. I don't hate this comment.
Him, Hero, and Bam played very well together today. Like those three actually fit.
Ethan's been going off about the pairing there with that he doesn't love Dedmon and Markieff, and that he would prefer that they stagger a little bit. And I think I agree with that comment too.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Brian, do you think Markieff and Bam play well together?
I think they did. I mean, it's the 1 game sample size, and because Markieff looked really, really good, I mean, I think I have to see it for more games, but tonight it looked fine.
Yeah, that's translation for Markieff still sucks, and I don't really want to see.
I want to make it clear, I don't hate Markieff. I mean, like Ariel pointed out, like he's a minimum level guy, like so you can't expect too much from him, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't want to hype him up too much. It's got to be diplomatic.
Right. Okay, we've been on here for about 59 minutes, so we're going to wrap this up pretty soon. Any last points on this game that anybody want to make that we didn't make? Jonathan Ramachan, final thoughts on the game?
Just like I said, great defensive game. I loved what I saw from just creating off of missed shots and creating off of turnovers. I think if we were able to translate that, I think that's the key to success for this team. I feel like creating, just like I said, bad shots and making the opposing team run and wearing them out and using that cardio that we talk about as Heat culture. I think that's something that can translate well moving down the line. So, good game tonight, and I think we're gonna blow that. We didn't get to that part yet, so yeah.
We miss Bajelica too.
No, we do not.
Miami Grill misses Bajelica.
I actually drove by Miami Grill today.
Small food businesses in South Florida miss him.
Yes, you're right. Small food businesses. My bad.
Yeah, bro. I'm about to say Miami Grill no longer supposed to do post-game show, so whatever, bro. Brian, final thoughts on the game?
Everyone looked fantastic. Jim VP, Bam, All NBA, Tyler 6 Man of the Year. Yeah, that was a good night.
For sure. They say Golden State Warriors fans talk highly about Bajelica. Nobody cares. Give them another 4 games. Ariel, final thoughts on the game tonight.
Good game. Think they won a game pretty comfortably, albeit against, rather inferior competition, but they won a game pretty comfortably in a game where they shot awful from 3. And I think that's an encouraging sign. Kyle Lowry, Dunkin Robinson haven't really found their individual offense yet, so I think that that's still coming. I think Kyle especially, and actually both of them, Kyle and Duncan, both have a long enough track record where you feel comfortable enough to know that they're going to find their offense soon enough. And when they do, this offense as a whole kicks into another gear, and this team is only going to get better from here on out, in my opinion.
These are facts, Jose Matos. Gad, final thoughts on this game.
Ariel took that last point that I wanted to make. Like, there is another level for these guys to get to because 2 of the best shooters, maybe the 2 best shooters on the team going into the season have shot very poorly. So there is another level. But Dwayne Dedmon, I just want to say one thing with him. He has a penchant for getting an illegal screen every single time we hit a 3.
Yeah.
He's probably wiped off like 5 threes already this year, which is a big deal.
He's wearing 21. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, he got the culture tech tonight, so no complaints from me. His energy is great. I don't care if he can't catch a ball or whatever, but hopefully that doesn't happen against Brooklyn because we might need those threes. But I'm excited. This team, I'm feeling better about this team than I did going into the season.
That's pretty tough for me because I thought we were going undefeated going into the season. So next game on Wednesday, we have the Brooklyn Nets.
Yes,
we're going to Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to Brooklyn. We're going to Brooklyn to face off against the Nets. Yeah. The boy feeling good?
The boy feeling good because James Harden has looked mighty sluggish to start the year. Kevin Durant's obviously Kevin Durant. I mean, if he shot the ball every single possession, he would probably score about 100 points. But I think the Heat are actually going to be able to pull this one out. I think Bam has a really, really good game. And if you get one of Kyle or culture minutes, maybe
bring it back.
Not. We'll see. Who knows? They're unpredictable. I don't choose the culture minutes. They choose when they get on the screen. But anywho, I think the Heat are going to win this game. I think Bam has a really, really good game. And one of Kyle or Duncan gets loose and starts hitting shots. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think they do a good enough job on Harden. KD gets his. I just don't think the Nets are playing very great basketball right now. And the Heat with Kyle Lowry are. So I think we're going to win this game.
All right, so here's the one good thing that Twisted has said all night. Make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel. We recently crossed 14,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So we appreciate each and every one of you guys who've done that. Make sure you like this video for us. It does help us out a whole lot, and we really appreciate that. So, Ariel, the boy feeling good?
The boy feeling good regardless of what happens in that game, and he's not going to overreact regardless of whether they win or lose.
Answer the question.
Bro, I cannot deal with this man, bro, talking this foolishness, bro. Ariel, what's wrong with you?
He's too smart.
I literally, as I said, and I was about to start fucking pumping sunshine into this whole thing. You muted me. How dare you? Anyways.
Post up slander your coworker's show.
Good Lord. No, but I do think that they're going to win this game if they hit their threes. It's going to be incredibly important. Like, that needs to be the game where Duncan and Kyle kind of, get going a little bit. Like, this is what you're here for. We need it from you. We need to see it. But I think Bam has a monster game. I think nobody in that front court can check him. He should just eat against that team. On the perimeter, they don't really have the guys to deal with Jimmy Butler unless they're going to put Kevin Durant on him, who, Kevin Durant, when he decides to lock in, is a pretty good defender. But I don't know if they want to do that either. So I think this game kind of shapes up pretty well. I think the Heat match up very nicely with the Brooklyn Nets, so I feel comfortable going in. I think they're going to win, but I think it's going to be tough.
Can I say one thing? I don't think we've seen Jimmy play against this rendition of the Brooklyn Nets.
You're right.
Yeah.
I don't think he played against them last year at all.
Yeah, this is going to be the first time. So I don't even know how they're going to approach guarding him.
Joe Harris? I mean, Joe Harris is a solid defender, but like
Joe Harris on Jimothy Butler.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he can't check him.
No, he cannot.
Joe Harris is going to foul out in the first quarter if that's
right.
the case.
Exactly. And if that boy do foul out, he's gonna need some
But
insurance.
they're gonna get buckets
Our
regardless.
sponsor of the post-game show is A Aggressive Insurance. Make sure you contact A Aggressive Insurance by visiting www.insurancebyLynette.com to handle all of your insurance needs. You can give her a phone call at 954-581-8800 or follow her on Twitter at A Aggressive Insurance, on Instagram at A Aggressive, I think it's _ insurance, or I think she has a Facebook page too. So if anybody's still out there on the prehistoric grounds of Facebook, then go out there. Make sure you follow A Aggressive Insurance. Give her a call. She can handle anything else. And yes, eBay, hit this like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Brian, the boy feeling good?
The boy feeling good. I mean, Bam's going to see LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin, and 8 minutes of Paul Millsap. So I expect a really, really good game from him. I'm a little worried about James Harden in the sense that he hasn't played to James Harden's standards so
he
far.
Looks slow, and the fouls are a really big thing with him. Like he genuinely looks like he lost half a step.
I still feel like it's James Harden, and he's always liable to flip the switch and go for 40, 10, and 10. So I don't know. I'm afraid of James Harden, who everybody doubts. Everyone's like, James Harden looks like don't give a shit James Harden, and then he turns into superstar, top 10 shooting guard of all time, James Harden. So that's my only concern. I mean, and Kevin Durant gets Kevin Durant. But other than that, I feel pretty good about this game.
I like the fact that you call him a top 10 shooting guard of all time, and that's where we will leave that. Jonathan Ramakai, the boy feeling good?
The boy feeling great. I actually think we're going to blow him out. Coach Bo is going to go there and have a defensive masterclass. I mean, we have three of the greatest defenders. You potentially have the greatest defensive team in the league. And on top of that, I feel like we're just going to frustrate him on offense. We're going to get him into foul trouble, and we're going to blow this shit out. I'm going to say 15 plus.
Ooh,
5-0 plus?
15. 5.
I was
about to say, oh my gosh.
Listen,
Perhaps.
I'm with Jonathan Ramakan. I think the Heat about to blow this shit out, bro, to be honest with you. Bam is going to be the star of this game. I think this is going to be a game where we're going to heavily feature him because, like all of you said, he's going against garbage men and goddamn orthodontic receptionists out there in terms of that big man rotation over there in Brooklyn. It is going to be an interesting thing to see what they do with Jimmy Butler because I think they're going to try and preserve or hide Kevin Durant on maybe PJ Tucker, just to kind of keep him rested for the offensive load that he's going to have to carry. But there's not going to be very much room to hide anybody else on there. I think they want Joe Harris on Dunkin Robinson to chase him around a little bit. But Jimmy Butler is going to – yeah, like that's what I'm having. Like I'm having problems trying to figure out the matchups that are advantageous for Brooklyn in this, and that gives me even more confidence that Miami is going to absolutely dominate this game surrounded by Bam. So I like Miami. I don't know if I'm willing to go 15, but 10 to 12 points is solid for me. They do have Kevin Durant, so he can make this.
They also have Patty Mills. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Patty Mills is a real shit heat killer. Not no random scrub. He's just real shit. He's a heat killer, bro. He just does it. So, yeah, I think that about wraps us up for tonight. On Wednesday, these guys will not be here because on Wednesday nights when we have games, the Clutch Corner crew is going to take over post-game shows. So I will be here along with whichever one of the members of the Clutch Corner decides to show up. I think we can finally get Adam Barai to come on. Probably not this week. I think next week he's in law school, so he has a lot of work that he's been doing. But, yeah, I think we're going to get him to come back. But, yeah, make sure you look out for that. So, as always, thank you guys in the comments for watching the show, making it much more fun than it would have been without you. Thank you to my guy Jonathan, Gad, Ariel, and Brian for joining me. This has been a wonderful evening. Heat and 5. Play the video, Jonathan.
You can get with this, or you can get with